I can't tell you how happy I am to see you right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm so happy. And on this day, man, I have so much to get to you.
Of course.
But like on this Monday, after the news for myself personally on Thursday, I was telling Eric at the beginning of the show, when John Pollock reached out to me in 2007, Thanksgiving of 2007, I had been doing this for 1 month and asked me to be on your show. I told my wife, that is the mountaintop. I will not accomplish anything greater than being on your show, talking to the voice of pride. You called me the Titan of Twitter.
Absolutely.
And like you giving me the time of day and opening your arms to me and just by some, little interview, giving me the rub, so to speak, meant the world to me. So it just, for you to be here on this day is almost surreal. So
I didn't give you the rub, sir, and you, like myself, and it's funny how there are many parallels, and maybe one of the reasons I think I didn't take you under my wing by any means, but gave you that opportunities because I saw, first of all, a lot of hard work, a lot of determination, a lot of raw talent, and you're a fellow Canadian, my man.
That's right.
But again, very proud of you and very proud to be here, sir, and I'm glad that the premiere is in New York. For me personally, having a premiere in New York City, what's happening? Is this life?
Yes, it's unbelievable. Okay, so we have a lot to discuss here because I was actually going through my emails. Your good friend Harris.
Yes.
Usanovich.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Usanovich. Harris Usanovich, yes.
What a wonderful guy, and I'm so happy he's a big part of this. I was going through emails. He first told me about this documentary in 2013. It's 2018. It took that long. Why did it take so long?
Yeah, it's, first of all, we didn't know what we were doing with any of this. I met Harris when I went to Toronto to work at the Fight Network in 2006. He was a young editor/cameraman, aspiring filmmaker. We became fast friends. He used to hang out with me in my apartment, and he got to see the other side of Mauro. And it was startling. It was, I guess, a little traumatic even for him. But with his storytelling vision, he thought, Mauro, if there's any way we can try to document this, because everyone sees you at this level, and yet, my God, you're a fighter. You go through a daily struggle unlike anything I've ever seen. So he started filming much before even 2013, and we were like, maybe there's a YouTube video here, a short film, a PSA of some kind. It was after I saw a short film that he had made about a war victim in Bosnia. 5, 6, 7-minute film. And I'm like, you did this by yourself? And he's like, yeah. I go, wow, dude, you got an eye. You're very talented. We became like brothers. I don't think this film would have been made without Harris because there has to be that level of trust. And so we started filming almost everything everywhere. And when we realized, because I've been on TV or camera since I was 16 years old, that my career, minus the mental illness, was bipolar in itself, growing up on a dead-end road, to calling Mayweather McGregor, the highs, the lows, the comebacks. So when Harris finally decided to make this a documentary, by the grace of God, Showtime, which has been my #1, I mean, the longest tenure I've ever had professionally since 2007, so 11 years, and these people are family. You understand the business, Ariel. This is cutthroat. We're competitive. Everyone wants everyone's job, and why are you getting that attention? Showtime, all of the on-air talent that we have with Showtime Championship Boxing, even with MMA, we're each other's friends and colleagues and supporters. And when they agreed to come on board and put the finishing touches on it, and Malcolm Media and all these young, talented people getting behind it, and Steven Espinoza, of course, David Dinkins, Gordon Hall, so many names, I couldn't believe it, that they were willing to do something of this nature, because I knew it was going to open up some eyes. I knew it was going to give people pause, because do you really want to do this? Because of the stigma, Ariel. And even Steven Espinoza in a recent piece said, at first he's like, wow, Mauro's my guy. I got to protect Mauro. And then he realized, wait a minute, this is exactly why we have to do this, because of what I just thought. Everyone thinks that. Well, this is your private life. Why are you exposing yourself? Because no matter how much you talk about it, Ariel, we write about it, it's hard to articulate. I think Ron Howard in A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe did probably the best job I've seen cinematically of depicting schizophrenia, mental condition. So for me, the only reason I believe that this will hopefully impact lives and make a difference, and believe me, the tsunami of feedback I've received just from the trailer is incredible, a lot of men, but the reason this works is because you do see me at my worst and at my best, but at my worst is where I want people to go, wow. I know someone like, wow, that is me. Wow, he's letting people see this. Then what's my problem? I can, and simply put, communication, compassion, and understanding. That's all we need.
How difficult was it for you to sign off on this, to say, I'm okay with this being out there? Like the trailer is like, I just played this thing.
Yeah.
That's you at a very dark time in your life.
You know me.
Yeah.
You know that I mean, I love Robin Williams, I love Andy Kaufman, not to say this is performance art by any means, but because of that person, and I've always had that gene where I love impacting people, I love shocking people, whether it's with a weird turn of phrase or making them laugh or making them feel, telling people stories like you do so well. I want people to feel. I didn't have any, in fact, ask them, I wanted it to be even worse.
Oh, really?
And then there was, I don't know to what degree, but there were, you know me, I'm extreme. So even seeing the trailer, and of course I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
It's funny, what gets me in that is the breathing at the end, those extra 2 breaths. Saying what I'm saying, that's the truth, that's me, I have no problem, I want you to know it. But just, the breaths, just knowing what it takes out of, I heard it. I heard the toll. And I'm okay here for the most part, Ariel, but we've lost too many people and a lot of men to suicide because of stigma, because they're not allowed to release like I did. That was a release. In many ways, like my job, allowing Harris to do this was cathartic for me. It was like, most of the time I didn't even realize the camera was there, but there are times even in the doc you'll see it, where I do address it. And there is maybe almost some performance art aspects to it, but it is authentic and legitimate in the moment, knowing I don't give a shit what you know about me. If it didn't make you physically sick, I'd probably show you. If it took that, that much of a move to try to get people's attention, I will do whatever it takes. So this is why I agreed to be filmed in the manner that I was. And as I've said in other interviews, and I'll tell you now, a lot of people, family included still, what are your employers going to think? Man, this is going to maybe cost you future employment because, wow, this guy's unstable. Or what if this happens on air? And holy shit, I didn't know it was this bad. If I save one life, that's fine. I went to the Fountain House today here in New York, which, by the way, the greatest mental health care facility that I had never heard of. Wow. And I understand now there's 300 clubhouses around the world. And I wanted to bring this up now because I see myself going to work at one of those places eventually. And so that's what I mean. If my legacy, Ariel, and I've been blessed to call some of the biggest fights ever, I'm a mental health advocate first and foremost. That's what I was put on earth to do. That's why I was given a voice. That's what I was given all of this incredible success, because I need to be put on a platform like this in order to try to save lives.
When did you first realize that you were battling this, that this was something that will be a part of you forever?
I always knew there was something different about me from birth, and the family will say too. I was hypersensitive. I was empathetic, or had empathy without knowing what it was. I used to get really sick to my stomach and have to be rushed to emergency as a kid a lot, but no, they were saying ulcers or something. Like I felt everyone's pain. I felt my family's pain, and my mom and dad have had health issues my entire life. I was able, I remember at school, and this is not, oh, you're such a sweet boy, or oh, you're such a nice guy. I'm trying to just paint the picture of what my life has been like. I was the guy in elementary school, we'd have hot dog day, and 75 cents for a little chocolate milk and a hot dog. I noticed a couple of times there was one boy who never partook, or and I found he couldn't afford it. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. Go into my dad's pants, steal the change, and tell the teacher. So what I'm saying is I always knew we were, we have to take care of each other. I'm here to try to help people in any way, shape, and form that I can. So when I was 19 years old, however, and I already enjoyed some great success with the wrestling show and working in clubs, Michael Jansen, my best friend, died suddenly July 6, 1989 of a heart attack. And if you read up on bipolar or anyway disorder or mental health issues, it's severe stress that will trigger. And his death was a very one of the first times that it hit me that close, especially 19 years of age. So it sent me into a spiral. It ended up with me being hospitalized. A lot of people thought I was just a drunk, an alcoholic, or a drug addict. I remember self-medicating. I was a DJ in a nightclub. I drank 42 consecutive nights in a row. I'll never forget the number. I was drunk 42 nights in a row as a badge of honor. Look at me, I can do this. A girlfriend at the time was a bartender, and she finally had seen enough. We need to bring this guy to the hospital. There's something wrong here. And so when I was diagnosed as manic depressive back then, first instincts, and I apologize for swearing, I try not to, but it was F you and F all of you for you're calling me crazy? You what? You know, like, of course, like most people, it was like, well, how dare you? There's nothing wrong with me. It's all of you. And for my 20s, my friend, as much as I still maintained a career in radio and yet should have been a lot further ahead, probably, with my so-called talent and desire and drive and opportunity, I was not taking medication, was not subjecting myself to any treatment. And the toll that it took on my family, my friends, myself, it is incredible what I put everyone through, multiple times being hospitalized, threatening my family's life, threatening my life, not taking care of myself, hygienic. I was in the hospital 2-week period. For 2 weeks, I did not shower, did not brush my teeth, did not eat. I remember looking like the Grizzly Adams, a hobo out of the wood, and just sick and dirty and smelly. And my mom was at her wit's end, of course, like anyone. And, you know, I'm raised Catholic. I'm not here to preach or anything like that. But I remember them sending a priest to my room. And he did whatever, a prayer, and he gave me the oil of the cross. Coincidence or not, Ariel, hours later, I am freshly showered, shaved, dressed up, going to the nurse's station, asking for breakfast. And the nurses, they're all mouths like, Mauro, wow, what's going on? And I'm like, sorry, can I have something to eat? And so I believe in my mind, in my desire, I've always been a fighter, that the priest just made me, you know, he represented my mom and my family being at the end. For them to have to do that. So I don't know what it is that it just signals something in me. And maybe there is a higher power. I can't explain it. But that's when I became okay again for a while. But I've had so much help, Ariel, so much support. And that's why as well I'm able to do this and be here, because of the support of loved ones and friends, and even people like yourself who, regardless of how often we talk or whatever, you're always checking in, or something happens. You guys, look at the community I have. Every one of us as human beings deserves that. And when I get people emailing me and tweeting me and sending me that their own families don't understand and they're at the end, literally at the end of their rope, it's traumatizing, but also it emboldens me in my pursuit to change all of this.
One thing that struck me in the documentary is just how much footage there is of you
Yes.
as a youngster. And a little bit was shown in that trailer of, and I'd love if you can explain to me what was going on. Like, it seems like you have a group of friends sitting down
Yes.
and you're performing for them, but you have like a cereal box on your head. There's one time when you're twirling, you're wearing a 3-piece suit. What is going on there?
So Peter Cordalis was the first person who hired me in the entertainment business. The only application form I have filled out in my broadcasting career was this mobile music DJ service in Abbotsford, British Columbia, my hometown. We became, again, fast friends. The guy's a genius, had his own recording studio, photography. He was like my sensei, introduced me to the Beatles at the deepest sense. Like, he was the guy that I wanted to be around because we talked music and movies. He had VHS tapes of almost every film. He was just this quirky Greek genius. So he used to hold these gatherings after the nightclub and stuff, and for whatever reason, we'd just start playing music or doing things. We're all artistic, theatrical in our way, and I'm one of those people, I guess, that just ended up, I wanted to entertain. So I put on these improvisational shows, and I could tell, a little over the top of that, people found it entertaining to the point more people would want it.
Wow.
It became like, well, when are you having another get-together at Pete's? And I remember he was in a band as well, and they'd go and do like pub jam sessions and whatnot. I'm, my glasses, my tie, 19, 20 years old, and they'd get me to come up, and I would start freestyling about everything going on in the pub. To the point, the kitchen staff would come out. And people are like, what in the hell is going on? And why does this make so much sense? So I've always had the performer's gene. You know that, even in my style of broadcasting. I'm not a cookie cutter broadcaster, as it were. But so that's why he had all these tapes over the years saved. And I put Harris and him together. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's more to come, actually. And I'm going to give you a scoop,
please,
because you deserve it.
That.
There was so much stuff that I wanted to show here, but in terms of what I want to do now career-wise and everything, I need to continue. Of course, we're in this age of instant satisfaction. There is footage of me, November 1988. I am 18 years of age, and I am wrestling Coconut Willie. The politically incorrect term is M-I-D-G-E-T, little person, but that's what it was known as then. Brother, my 13-year-old brother at the time is on the camcorder, my mom, but, and again, I know Harris is somewhere going, no! But I wanted to just say, because wait until you see this. And so for me to be able to have other stuff to use to connect to mental health, but hopefully also entertain people, it's weird. There's a lot of stuff still to come, but this is more about directly addressing mental health. And so whatever it takes, I'm willing to do.
Well, did you have a say throughout the entire editing process? Like, did you say, I want this in, I want this out? How did that work?
Good question. And this is the level of trust I have for Harris Usanovich. I don't talk about this much, and it needs to be discussed. I know I have a career. I've been working for 32 years. Harris was a young guy, young family, and just much like yourself, bringing you on my radio show. One thing I've always tried to do is try to give back. Boss Rudin, so many people have helped me. I mean, I can't count how many people have looked out for me. Got to pay it forward. Got to give back. I trusted Harris because I loved him. I love his family. I love what he represents. And he's, in a weird way, my muse in many ways. Like, he will be around where I'm inspired to try things with knowing if I'm going to be judged, he'll tell me that sucked, or my God, that's awesome. So I just said, Harris, this is also I want you to get noticed for this, because this is your first documentary. And a lot of people, why him? I mean, wow, what a story. Why him? Because I trusted him. Right place, right time. He put in thousands of his own dollars, may never recoup, who knows, left his young family. Like, this was, he when I was in the hospital the one time in Ontario, in Toronto, every single day he would come and visit. So it was a level of trust. So to answer your question without rambling like I usually do, I trusted him. I didn't want to see it until it was done. So
what was it like when you saw it the first time?
I saw Brian Daly and the Malcolm Media crew brought me in to see it, and I watched with them. Harris was there as well. Oh, of course, right? You know, buddy, I did the Showtime Championship boxing card on Saturday, and you know, you get your feedback. Oh, that was a great land. That was a great. I still cringe. I'm not a fan of me. I'm my own worst critic. I'm never. Brian, are you ever satisfied? Are you satisfied after your shows?
No, hate it.
I can't stand it. That means that's why we are driven and why we continue to work hard. Watching it, I love the production. I mean, for like removing myself, I'm like, holy shit, this is good. Like, it's compelling. Like the music, the editing,
the music is phenomenal.
The footage, I'm like, wow. But seeing myself in all, like, even when I'm doing a promo, wrestling promo, I know it's a promo, but maybe I think some people are going to think, wow, what an arrogant, what a narcissist or whatever. What he's saying, he's the best looking guy. So already that stuff goes on in my mind. And then when you see the breakdowns, it's you know, I think of how my parents might react, or people that truly love me, and I've warned them and I've let them know that it is going to be very difficult to watch, but it needs to be. So I understood the way it impacted me. The more uncomfortable I was, the back of my mind, I was like, good, because that's what it has to be in order for it to be effective.
Have your parents, your brothers, have they seen the film yet?
No one, they've only seen the trailer. My mom, thankfully, and again, thanks to, you know, the folks at Showtime and Brian Daly and the entire team there, we are going to be on Friday, May 25th, the same night in Canada on the Movie Network 2, I believe, at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Tremendous.
So they will see it. And there's also a Canadian premiere in Toronto that Harris and his family, his wife, Azra, are helping to put together. Our boy, John Pollock, and the crew will be there. And Michael Landsberg, who is a huge, major advocate of mental health and a big-time sportscaster, rock star in Canada. He will be a part of that.
So when your parents see it for the first time, you won't be with them?
Guess where I'll be? London, England, calling Bellator. And isn't that poetic?
Yes, that's right.
Well, of course, Mauro's somewhere working.
That's right.
And on a competing station, no less, at the same thing. None of this is normal in its own sense. So I'll be in London, England at 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course, I will be monitoring, hopefully, what I hope will be positive feedback. But that's the thing here, too, Ariel. Out of every 100 messages I got back, I think I've seen only one that's like, oh, here's another one. Look at me, woe's me. All of us have problems, all of us. Yes, I understand. Too many people have their problems and are suffering in silence and are not getting help and are literally killing themselves. So excuse me for just wanting to just make it easier or try to make it easier to talk about it. This is not a vanity project. This is not the Mauro Ranallo story. Yeah, I think I've had a very unique journey, compelling, whatever. This is about trying to eliminate stigma and trying to get people to talk more about mental health, like DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love in the NBA, Logic, major hip-hop artist, Mariah Carey doing a People cover, bipolar disorder, Demi Lovato, Greg Bishop, Sports Illustrated has done a piece on me, Jason Gay, Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles Times. This is not name dropping. This is major media that's finally like, wow, yeah, we need to start talking about this. So I'm a little speck in this universe that wants to just, lend my voice to the cause.
Do you think if your friend never passed away, that this never would have happened? Do you ever think about that? Or was it inevitable that something else would have triggered you?
Can't answer that, my friend, because I was riding a massive high then, and there was opportunity even at 19 to take my pro wrestling career to another level. I remember there was a little interest from WCW in Atlanta, Georgia, that they'd seen a VHS tape, and maybe, I joked about this, and I've told Jimmy Cornette this too. I could have come in as Billy Cornette with a badminton racket. He had the tennis racket, of course. So, but the timing, all of it, crescendoed with his death, and then I thought my broadcasting, I thought everything was over when he died, and it's funny, at 21, and remember, this is 1991, and the broadcast game, your first radio job is not supposed to be in your hometown where you can, still maintain your life and sleep at home. You're going to Timbuktu for $500 a month eating, tomato soup out of the can. I was, on April Fool's Day, I was hired by my local radio station. Kind of a nice little touch there as well. My program director when I was hired full-time was Brian Laver. At the age of 21, I had a complete breakdown again, and this was the one that hospitalized me for the first time, or not the first time, second or third, but the longest, 3 months. I just started at the station, and I knew career's over, dude. You're going to be probably living at home the rest of your life, maybe on disability, maybe working a 9-to-5 job, and that's when my mind began to I'm going to end this then. I don't want this life, because I truly know, like yourself, I know what I'm put on earth to do. I know what my dream is. I've already achieved a part of it. Please don't let it stop. When I broke down and was in hospital, I wrote a resignation letter to the station. My father, whom I've had a very strained relationship throughout my life, but we're at a better place now, he saved my life because they never gave the radio station the letter. But Brian Laver, who I've not had contact with for over 20 years, he was the first person, my employer, to say, no, we're going to wait. We'll wait as long as it takes. He's a great kid, raw talent, awesome. So what I'm saying, from the beginning, all of my employers have supported me. And I am getting nothing but feedback saying that is not the case with a large portion of the people that have contacted me when it comes to their employers. And the fact that we are losing billions of dollars of productivity every year because of the lack of mental health care. I have to go back to Fountain House. Please, fountainhouse.org, clubhouse/intl.org, Nirvana for mental health care. But so what I'm saying, I've had support my entire life, and it began right at the beginning.
That was actually my initial reaction, because I know what you've been through, since I've known you. You've had moments where you had to take a
you've been
leap of
subjected to some of my moments. I mean, I don't want to air it out here, and we are, but I'm serious. Like I've treated people I love weirdly. I unfollowed him on Twitter, everybody.
Yes. Why? What happened?
It's this. It really truly is. And it's like, I'm almost like, because I helped you or whatever, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, he doesn't need me anymore. I don't hear from him anymore. Screw him too. Gone. It's me. It's not you, bro. It's always been me. So I always self-sabotage, Ariel. When things are going great, I always, for some reason, I push and push and push. And I'm learning. Like, even with me doing this documentary, don't by any stretch of the imagination think I'm cured. There is no cure. And I'm still trying to find the treatment that helps me. And so again, I apologize to you right now, okay, brother. My family, when I look around and tell my mom and dad and my brothers, I'm gonna effing kill you, and what, come on. That's not, there's something wrong, whether it's chemical imbalance, whether it's hereditary, genetic, a product of our environment. You know as much as anyone. I'm a decent person. I'm only trying to help everybody, but I know what I'm capable of, and it scares the hell out of me.
poor John Pollock. I've asked him so many times what I ever did to you, and he is such a loyal friend to you.
He is, and you did nothing, and it's just.
And it broke my heart, and because I love you. I really love you.
And that's
you've been
why
so
I did
great
it
to me.
I've done this over the years to many people who've been there for me or helped. It is something I'm glad we even talk about here because it's a weight off my shoulders. It's one of my stupid quirks, man, that I need to work on for myself. I still feel, Ariel, and man, I'll give you everything here. I think I'm a freaking fraud, dude. I think I'm going to lose everything instantly. I think that was my last Showtime show. I think Bellator is going to call me, you're done. WWE, well, you're too over the top, you're out. So I'm not going to lie. I see people I've helped with, oh, man, I don't know what your struggles are. See, I'm judgmental as anybody else. Well, he's doing well. Pollock's doing well. These guys, I got to keep working. Do you get that? How weird is that? That a guy who's had the year I've had calling Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa 5-star match by Meltzer TakeOver. Anthony Joshua Klitschko. The Mayweather McGregor. John Cena, AJ Styles. What in the hell do I have to complain about? So don't you think then, my God, there is something wrong. And man, I feel sorry because if anyone, this is another reason I did this doc. I'm on top of the world, but every day I struggle with this. Every day I wake up in a state of anxiety, panic, going, is this the day I end it?
Every day, like you.
Every single day, Ariel. Buddy, today I am on such fumes and emotionally tired, and I went for a walk to Central Park with Harris, and now I don't want it to be, whatever, much bigger. It is every day. Okay. It is every day, sir.
Wow. You know, it was wild for me, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this up.
Let's go, bro. Let's open it up.
2010 NCAA championship game. The score gave me the opportunity to go cover UFC 112 in Abu Dhabi, but I had to do a pit stop in Toronto. You put me on the show, the MMA show, and I watched Butler versus Duke at your apartment.
Remember that.
And I remember going to the score and seeing you, and it was just so wild. I'm there with Mauro Ranallo, because at the time, I'm only doing this 2 years. And you went home with me, and you were like a man on a mission going home. You stopped and you got a caramel macchiato. I remember this vividly.
Wow.
You got to your apartment, and it's the same apartment that's in the dock. You undressed. You went on, you were wearing your underwear, so it was, you went on the keyboard and you told me you didn't have any practice. You're going on the keyboard, you're banging away. The volcano, I was introduced to that. And that is exactly, and it was wild to me to experience that all over again, because that's when I first realized, not that you're different. No. I knew you were a quirky guy, but I was like, wow, this is an insight into his world. You showed me your DVR and everything that you want, and your scripts and everything like that. It was an experience I'll never forget. And then to recreate it and to relive it on the dock was, for me, almost like an out-of-body experience to see that again. I felt like I was back in 2010.
Absolutely, and that's where, and see, again, thankfully, you remember, I appreciate that. You've seen, and only, it's funny, you think, in our world or whatever, we're on camera, we're well-known or whatever, we have some notoriety, hate the word celebrity, but nobody really truly knows nobody's story. And for some people, they want it that way. I get this. Some people, even today, I got a tweet, I told you about, oh yeah, poor you, or what was you? It's not about that, man. I'm showing, look, I've lost too many people. Larry Sweeney. Do you remember Larry Sweeney,
the wrestling manager? Yeah.
I had him on my radio show in Canada, and I knew he was bipolar too. I met him, and this guy's incredible. Yeah. Like, what a talent, man, on the stick, the acting. And then I saw videos at WrestleMania right before he passed away. And I saw him. I walked by him. And I don't know who I was with, but I said, my God, I knew something was going to happen to him. Oh. And I felt I couldn't do anything because of when you can't, how do I say, even myself, see, this is what I'm saying. I wanted to help him, and I only knew what I could do was try to be there and maybe reach out whenever possible. But when he committed suicide, and I think I went on a rant on my radio show.
I remember.
When someone like that, and then there's been others, my family, the people who aren't even covered in this, and again, and you're bringing it out because you're the man, dude. The Shulton family has never been addressed. This is the first time I have to do it. This is again, we're just going to do this. Mrs. Liz Shulton may be the strongest woman that I have ever met in my life. Her husband committed suicide due to bipolar, and this was going back in the 90s. And then a year later, her daughter was brutally murdered by her ex-husband, leaving behind 3 kids. I helped raise the kids. Like, I was drawn to the family, and she saved my life more than anybody. Fast forward. 2006, I'm in Toronto. There's a parole hearing or something about their dad who killed us, and the kids are all, traumatized and nervous and they want my support. I've always been there for them. I'm violently ill with the flu on the day that I'm supposed to be there. I obviously let them down and stuff. What do I do with that? Instead of, okay, well, it's okay, I'll make it up, whatever. I haven't talked to them since, Ariel. Again,
Wow.
I felt so bad, and so, like, I can't even explain it, but all my fault. They've tried to reach out and stuff, and it was almost like I had to finally escape all of the negative. As much love and support I got for them, they were going through so much themselves. My family, living at home, God bless my mom and dad, it's just so negative. So negative, and I needed escape from everything. So it's almost like you run away, and I'm still trying to come to terms with people that I've heard along the way, and right now this is the first time talking about it, and I don't know if I ever will talk to them or see them again, but I just want to let them know, whoever sees this, pass it along to them, that I will never forget what Liz Showton and the Showtons did for me, because she helped me through the darkest times and came and just the best person ever.
Wow. And so why don't you reach out to them to try to...
Again, why? Something in I just feel like, why would they care now? They probably, who cares now? It's been too late, whatever, Mauro. Nice, F you, get lost. And why wouldn't they think otherwise? And honestly, there is a part of me, a lot of my past is so traumatic to me, and that's what people say, well, living this, then isn't this worse? That this is the release, but I have to keep moving forward. We all have to keep moving forward, and that's the only way I can stay alive, is I just have to. I'm learning to compartmentalize things. I'm trying to just stay not so much within my head, but try to do other stuff. I don't, like you too. You got a family, but I still don't know what you do with all the travel and stuff. Like, not that I'm getting burned out. I love what I do, but I need something else too. I don't have something else.
You want something else.
I have to, Ariel.
Yeah.
And that's the music, I guess I do.
Sure.
But something even just steady exercise every day, going hiking every day. It's so weird. I'm getting up, I'm ready to go on my Peloton bike, get the workout in. All of a sudden, tweet something in wrestling's happened, something in like, I get so distracted so quick with information, and I go down the rabbit hole, and the next thing I know, well, there's the day's gone.
That's right.
That can't. I have to learn to control that.
This might be a hard question for you to answer, but were you ever close to committing suicide?
Many times.
How close?
It's in the doc, I guess, where I say I wonder if the light fixture can control my body weight. I said this to a reporter yesterday, and again, it's sensationalistic, but it's also real. I have been dogged the last week with the visual of me just, it's very strange. I'm obsessed with death, always have been. I remember when I was a kid, when my dad's dad died. I remember I was in my bedroom sleeping, young guy. We wake up, and again, this is my dad and mom, not a lot of communication or emotion shown. And my dad just said, yeah, I got a call, Italy, my dad passed away. And it's okay, well, nothing's shared. I go to school, the frickin' floodgates come out, tears. I remember asking people in grade 8 how old their parents were. So in my mind, I could go, so you're probably going to be about 48, 50 when you're... Why? So I've always had this tortured soul, this incredibly dark side to my thought process. The only time that I've ever even remotely come close to doing it was when I was in my vehicle at the time. And it's, the cliche. You just, let's run this bitch into the ditch and hope that it ends. But again, I can't do it to my family. My support network, wow, surprise, surprise. My support network keeps me alive. Isn't that amazing? What happens when you have people that genuinely care and love you? They check in and make sure you're okay. That's, again, Ariel, what so many people are lacking, and that's why this documentary has to work. I'm the support network. People go, you're nuts. You put your email out there. Why not? And I try to, and I do, I respond to every single one, because why else am I here? People are hurting. People are suffering. It is the invisible disease. We are seen but not heard. One of the members of Firehouse told me today, a man who was diagnosed with schizophrenic, who was an aspiring broadcaster. Marty Glickman was his mentor, knows everything you want to know about New York baseball. And this good-looking Puerto Rican guy's my age, looks 20 years younger. He gave me the tour today. But the brilliance, the soul, the happiness. So many mentally ill people are some of the greatest contributors to society in the arts and otherwise. You look throughout history, you do your research, and some of our greatest entertainers, some of our greatest minds, some of our greatest thinkers are quote unquote mentally ill. We should be celebrating this illness and fostering the positive aspects, because believe me, I don't believe I'd be here without my diagnosis, because as you mentioned, even what you see in the video, I always knew there was something there. I'm a huge Who Isn't Robin Williams fan. I always read his quotes and thought, I get that. I get when he says by touch by man, it's like, I want to push it to the uncomfortable level just to see what I'm capable of doing. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have whatever it is. And that's what scares me too. What is mental illness? What is it? We could say mood disorders. We can say chemical imbalance you have. And it continues to grow because we are not we're not talking enough about it. Instead of cutting resources, we need millions upon millions of dollars. We need more firehouses. We need more, I hate to say it, with cancer, with AIDS, with all of these incredible diseases that impact all of us. I've lost so many relatives to cancer. But when you hear cancer right away, oh man, oh geez. Hi, I'm bipolar. Oh, okay. Well, should be no difference.
Who gave yourself the bipolar rock and roller?
See, again, you're not supposed to give yourself a nickname. That's the highest form of narcissism. I gave myself the nickname, the bipolar rock and roller, for this point in the 90s when I was radio. Yes, it sounded cute. I was a club DJ, a radio DJ, so it fit that. The word bipolar was the operative word. And in fact, I did my own social experiment in the clubs where I would introduce, and of course, people are like, well, yeah, that fits you. You're crazy. You're over the top. You're wild, man. No, actually, I'm bipolar. What do you mean? What is that? So the bipolar rock and roller was a conversation starter for me. That's why I chose that. And
again, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this. I've never mentioned it, but that like first 10 seconds of the trailer, which you see, you know, a longer piece in the documentary. I don't even know if you remember this, but in around 2010, 2011, you left me a voicemail. And you sounded worse than that.
Yeah, I remember that.
You were crying, and I think you were in the hospital. And I know Frank Shamrock came to visit you, and I know I spoke to John about it and whatnot. Was that the last time that you had, like, was that the worst?
The time in Ontario when Frank came was the worst most recent worst setback in the October 2012.
Okay.
But I have, and the last time I was hospitalized in America. And this is another wonderful observation. I have money. I'm successful. I can afford what I need to do healthcare-wise. Unfortunately, it's a whole entire topic because, my God, as you know, coming from Canada to America, that's ridiculous with the cost. But I thought I was in the best psychiatric ward. Okay, let me back up. I was going to do the Invicta fight with Chris Cyborg. I forgot what it was. And, brother, the day before, I'm watching tape. I'm doing my rehearsal like everything else, a prep. And all of a sudden, I can't speak. I don't even remember her name. Nothing. I'm trying to recite facts of people, and the anxiety just overwhelmed me to the point I called Frank. I said, "You have to please come over. I don't know what's happening." And it was I felt I couldn't talk anymore. I couldn't broadcast anymore, and it was the weirdest, scariest feeling. So unfortunately, two events I've missed because of my mental health in 32 years. That event and October 2012 when Barclays Center opened for boxing. I just started with Showtime Boxing, which shows you, again, the amount of support. But I go to the treatment center in Ventura County, California, and I've never been in jail, but I can't think that jail would be any worse than that was. And it was, and it's not the staff's fault. I get it, but some people don't see a nurse the whole entire. There was no human connection whatsoever. The stigma is alive and well in the actual treatment centers. I have had nurses contact me who are saying, I work in the mental health field, and so many symptoms, so many illnesses, we sweep under the rug, or we just don't deal with. And that is why, on the same day, I come to talk to you. And I know I sound like a salesman now, but I am. This Clubhouse, clubhouse.intl.org, what these privately funded institutions are doing, facilities. I went there. You can't tell who's a patient and who's a staff member.
Wow.
Integrated, buddy. The restaurant, the kitchen, the catering is amazing furniture. The all healthy foods. Media, multimedia studio like this, bro. Well, what's happening here? Well, this is how we treat. We're trying to get people back on their feet. We want them to feel human. So this is probably fun, and yet the government and the health are it's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is one of my favorite films of all time. But wow. So that's the last time I was hospitalized. That just gave me even more firepower to fight what is just, it's a disgusting stain on our society, how we treat the mentally ill.
I can imagine someone, and we have a few minutes left.
You know what? Yes, I know. We could go forever, but I appreciate your time, sir.
I can imagine someone who is battling this. You know, if they have any kind of job, any kind of family, it's tough. No one's dealing with something worse than the other. But you live in the public eye, so you don't show up to the Invictus show. You don't show up to the Barclays show. Now it becomes news, and now you have this really high-profile job that everyone's talking about. Does that add to it, the fact that you keep thinking, I may have lost it all? It's not like I go
100%. Absolutely.
How do you deal with that? Because it's just amazing that the support that you have from your...
Thank you, and you're right. And it's, but like I say, I don't know how to articulate it. It's just, I'm constantly in fear of failure, fear of just all of it disappearing, and actually, I made this brutal mistake Saturday night right off the bat. The trunk colors, I got them confused between the two fighters. People noticed, they noticed, but it actually, because, and I noticed this, I'm actually happy that an event took place during this whirlwind of this thing, because I'm mentally drained, and I was petrified Saturday of the Showtime broadcast, because I'm like, wow, man, all of this is great. I still have to work.
Yeah.
This is the way I make money. So when I made that mistake, I'm not like, for a split second, it's like, wow. And then, but thankfully, and I've told this to everybody, my security blanket, Linus's security blanket, and it should be the opposite for most everyone, when I put on the headphones, that's actually when I'm alive and safe. That's when I'm safe, Ariel.
Wow.
There's no net, it's live TV. That's when I feel my most thing. So I said, oh, you know, in my mind, shoot. But then I just went on with the rest of the broadcast, and it was like, man, Mauro, you are making inroads in your life. You are making, you're creating your own coping mechanisms. And that's really the end, Ariel. What I want to sum all of this up is I want people to watch this documentary to start the conversation with their loved ones and friends. And when you ask, we always ask, how are you? Nobody really even hears the answer or listens, and maybe the answer is rote. I want people to just start the discussion of how they are truly feeling, and just to learn empathy, compassion, understanding. And it's not, it's like going to a paraplegic in a wheelchair. Why aren't you walking? Get out of that wheelchair and start walking. Going to someone who's depressed and saying, snap out of it. You're doing it for 10. Go outside in the fresh air. Go run a few miles, which probably would do them well. But you cannot... Just because you don't understand or you don't see it does not give you the right to make any judgment on that person.
Do you take medication right now? How do you battle it, or how do you?
I am, and with all due respect to Will Wheaton and other amazing people, an actor who has talked about antidepressants helping him. Darvin, the guy who gave me the tour, has sung the praises of Latuda for his condition. When I was in that treatment center, they gave me Latuda. All I did, and hyperbole is the greatest word ever, known a little bit for my hyperbole, Ariel, 4 hours. 4 hours back and forth in my hallway because of restless leg syndrome, to the point I was going to jump off my 3rd floor balcony and hopefully end it. So the side effects, I see it with my parents. We all know about the opioid crisis. We all know. I am not a fan of chemicals. I refuse when doctors who mean well tell you, here, take this pill. Studies show that it helps people with your symptoms. Okay, sir, why does it work? Well, we don't know. I'll stick with what I do know works for me, and that is cannabis. And that is, and I've said this before, people say, oh yeah, you're a pothead. And already people are like, you know, the studies show that it leads to this, 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 and that. I've smoked cannabis for 24 years. It is the one thing that has kept me alive and functional. So I say this. Yes, I understand it impacts all of us different ways. THC, we know the medicinal value of CBD. There's something for me in my bipolar mixed states that whether you put in a capsule or the ingredients, that allows me to be sociable, allows me to be incredibly creative. I do everything I'm complimented for comes as a result of me being under the so-called influence of cannabis.
So that's it. Just
and
cannabis.
that's it. And that keeps it. And I start in the morning a couple. I'll begin my routine. A little bit at night. People say, well, you're high on air. No, but I am high that day.
What do you do in England, for example?
Going to call Bellator 200.
Okay.
I know what you mean.
Okay, you deal with
I
it.
have my way. No,
Okay, okay.
honestly, and that's the one wonderful thing now, honestly, is like, buddy, it's not, there's a stigma with that as well.
Yeah.
I'm a stigma smasher.
Yeah. Could I ask about WWE? Because
Yes,
in
of
fact,
course.
what happened with WWE recently, I think it was a little over a year ago, actually led to me to text you again and let you know that I had your back.
Right.
And so I don't really know what happened there, but I do know you were back with WWE.
Yes.
You're with NXT. You're the voice
love
of
it.
NXT.
The greatest, the hottest brand in sports entertainment. By the way, it really, like, it should have been the beginning for me, NXT. And in fact, when Michael Cole and Triple H, Paul Levesque, first approached me about working for WWE, I joke, I said, for NXT, and they started laughing. Well, we want you to launch SmackDown Live on the USA Network. And so, of course, amazing, 46 years. See, look at you, man, realizing your dream now with ESPN at this age. For me, 46 years old, for me to go to the WWE, I didn't even think would happen. Did the 1 year of SmackDown Live and 52 weeks a year, and this is another, we could go into this one day too, and they're beginning to address it. I was on the road every week. You add MMA and boxing and kickboxing to it. The road travel destroyed me. So rumors and all this other stuff, what happened, honestly, and Ariel, you know how honest have I been in this thing. I had a breakdown in the Chicago's O'Hare Airport on my way to Pittsburgh to do SmackDown Live. And again, Frank Shamrock, God bless him, Boss Rutan, man, the two guys who fought each other are my biggest supporters. But I had to phone him, and I said, I'm done. Cannot do this anymore. It's going to kill me. And I thought I was done with the entire company. And there were, WWE again, man. We're all progressing. Everyone is learning as we go along. Like, I think this is even me doing this talk. I've already received so much feedback from people in WWE going, "Wow, man, that is so brave and so awesome." And I think they're learning as we go along, like everybody else. So my relationship with them has never been better. And honestly, as much as there's two sides to every story, the actual truth for me was my mental health wasn't going to allow me to maintain that schedule much longer.
And now how long do you travel? Like,
see, this is the good thing. I do once a month. I go to Orlando, Florida, tape 4 shows of NXT, and then 5 times a year we do the takeover event. So my God, man, it's a godsend. It is tailor-made for my lifestyle. And the fact that Triple H and Michael Cole wanted me there and still a part of the family, I love it. I love WWE. I love boxing. Like, look at, again, I know I'm living the life here. I've got the dream job. I just have to, let people know that doesn't matter how rich you are, how famous you are, what color skin you have, whatever the case is in your life, this does not discriminate. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner that we are going to start saving lives. And I hope it begins when this documentary finally airs Friday, May 25th on Showtime in the United States and on Movie Network 2 in Canada.
Do you notice that more people are treating you differently now that it's out?
Yes, and it's weird. In a weird way, it's actually how do I say it? More respect. It's like it's the opposite of what a lot of people get when they hear about that. I'm being embraced. Buddy, concierge at the hotel I'm staying at saw me, burst into tears, came and gave me a hug.
Wow.
I'm getting, and again, the ego. To me, it's almost like pressure. Like I am whatever the Pied Piper, however you want to be. But we need many more soldiers. I've actually Royce White, remember the NBA player,
Houston Rockets.
Yes, contacted me. A lot of, and again, maybe I shouldn't identify everyone, but he's been open with it. That's why I bring him up. But there've been so many people with way bigger platform than me that I think we're starting to connect the dots where. Eventually, and I know maybe this is a symptom of bipolar, the grandeur. I want to see a Coachella for mental health because can you imagine the music, the artists, the comedy, the open mic stage where communication and love and support is in the air, bro. That to me would be incredible.
Just 2 more questions because I see them lurking and I think we have to go. Eric's telling me you have a heart out. Are you looking forward to this coming to an end? Like, are you tired of talking about this now, or are you okay at this point?
No, we'll never be tired of talking about it, but I can empathize. And I used to laugh and actually get mad at people like Christian Bale or these major movie stars who have meltdowns on press junkets. I'm not ever going to be tired of talking, but man, is it emotionally draining just to do interview, and especially of this subject. So I'm looking forward to finally sharing the documentary with everyone, and I hope that eventually maybe I could even show it, a form of it in schools, because I think the conversation has to start at a very young age. And all I can continue to do is bang my drum for change. And if I can get an email one day that says, you know, from a loved one or someone that says, your documentary saved my son, your documentary saved me, and I'm not trying to be messianic, you know, heroic. If I can get someone to go get help with me being as transparent as I am, hallelujah, brother. Hallelujah. What a life worth living.
Stampede, Pride, Elite XC, Strikeforce, Glory, Bellator, Showtime Championship, boxing, WWE, everything in between. What do you think your late friend Michael would say about what you've done?
Wow, very good question. Yeah, you asshole. You're an asshole. A good one. You're a good one. Brother, I'll tell you what Michael Jansen would have said, because he already said it to me. Pick him up. I was 18 years old. I go to pick him up at his college course. So right a year before he died. Can't wait for the day you work for Vince McMahon.
Wow.
Thank you, Ariel.
You're the man, Mauro. This was great.
So are you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much, and congratulations. I hope this served as an audition as the new host of the MMA Hour, where we actually will only be 60 minutes. All right?
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Congratulations, my man.
Congratulations to you. Good luck to you. May 25th, Showtime, and the Movie Network in Canada.
I think Movie Network 2.
Movie Network 2 in Canada. Can't wait, and good luck in England.
Thank you.
Bellator, thanks so much. And if I could get a follow on Twitter.
Yes. Where's my phone?
Yeah.
We're doing it. Absolutely. And like I said, I'm glad we were able to discuss that too. Man, I'm opening up with everything. Do the ex-girlfriends need to be discussed now?